Hi, Tess.
Hi, Nicolette.
How are you, Tess? Good morning to you.
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for having me today. Such a pleasure.
Well, thank you for saying yes. For our listeners today, I am Nicolette, the creator for the podcast titled You're Worthless. Read that again. The juxtaposition of your very soul. Today we have Tess Watson here with us, and her story is very, very, very interesting for me. And yes, before we get started on our conversation, I'd like to read a bit of your introduction and then we can get right into it. So, hello everyone. We have Tess Watson here with us. As a single mother of two young boys, she understands the challenges modern parents face. Striving to find the perfect balance between family life and personal well being, she discovered the importance of self care and rejuvenation. This realization led her to establish and run for 7 years. Gosh, French one. Les Petits Bellots? I don't.
Perfect.
Okay,
Perfect.
yay! A bilingual childcare program providing flexible and short term childcare solutions in French and English for children aged 6 months to 4 years. In her debut book, Rejuvenated Moms Make Happy Kids, she shares her personal journey as a single parent and impart valuable insights gained along the way. She firmly believes that when mothers prioritize their own well being, they become optimal parents, ultimately fostering happiness and success in their children. And this is the focus of her work that she deeply wants to share with everybody today. Welcome, Tess. Hi, hi, hi.
Thank you so much, Nicolette. Thank you so much.
So, Tess, can you share with us before we get into the nitty gritty of things? What was it like growing up as a Tess Watson?
So, growing up was really, for me, it was a beautiful journey, even if, I encountered, challenges as everyone. I would just say that my childhood was, a peaceful one in a sense and a joyful one as well. I grew up with a mother who, since she was born, was, diagnosed with disease. And so I had quite often my mom, hospital being cared for. So this was very, time where I was a bit, it was, it was tough, because you just don't know if she's going to come back or this
Mm,
time, is she coming back or so I had those moments where, I was fearful and I was stressed as well about the situation. But apart from that, my upbringing was very great. I only have, very, very good memories. So I've been loved, I've been supported, I've been, well cared for. So yeah, that's me.
lovely. Now, um, I wanted to ask you, what is your backstory that led you to setting up your um Le Petit Bellots?
So basically, I just early on realized that when you become a mother and especially a stay-at-home mom, um, you don't have the same, options that, a working mom can have. Obviously, you have, when you start working, it's a requirement for you to have your baby or child, in a daycare for you to be able to work. What we forget too often, I think, is the fact that stay-at-home mothers are also working 24/7. Yes, it doesn't bring money in, but it's still working, and we don't have breaks, so it's non-stop. It's 24/7, okay, every day. And I just realized that it was too much for me, but not just for me, I could also notice for my friends. And when I decided to start looking for something for my little boy, I couldn't find any group setting in my area
Mhm.
where I can drop him for a couple of hours because I've made the decision to be a stay-at-home mom. So decided that I wanted to be his main carer. So I'm not going to send him for long hours or every day in a daycare. That's no point. But I need some time for myself.
Yourself.
And I would
Wow.
love as well for the baby to be, to the toddler, at the time, I think it was a toddler, to be, socializing like
Mingling.
all
Yeah.
children from,
Mm-hmm.
working parents can, socialize, learn, etc. So I wanted the same type of setting being a stay-at-home mother. So
Mm-hmm.
I looked for it and I couldn't find anything. So that's where I came in, and I decided I had this, desire to do it for me and for others, because we all deserve a break. So that's the
You.
idea. So I set up this nursery where you can drop your child just for a couple of hours, maybe once a week or twice a week. It depends on, what you are after. Yeah, it was great. Mother were really happy, obviously, to have that type of setting.
Time.
The child is enjoying himself, and you
Yeah.
have yourself as well to, do whatever, pleases you. So
Love that idea. Now that I read it and also heard it from you myself, it's actually such an important move for mothers because I grew up with a mom that is also a housewife. So my dad is in the house for about once a week, and my mom, yes. And we often see this, we often discredit the work that the mother does at home, but actually, true enough, she is the one that holds the family together and is so important. That's why they say happy wife, or in this case, happy mother, happy life. Because I read it somewhere that if the mother is unhappy, the environment will be reflective of that. And I don't know. I haven't gone into the statistics of it, but if I were to think about it, mother is not happy, then the whole mood changes. If father isn't happy, then okay, but he can go out and go with his friends. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's I think we can all agree that we have many different versions of ourselves. So Tessia, tired, exhausted, it's absolutely not the same Tessia when
Mm.
I'm, full of energy and happy. Even in the way I interact with the boys, it's two different persons. And it's the same for everyone on this planet.
Mm.
You can't be the same person when you are so happy, so full of energy, so, relaxed and rested. And when you are frustrated or exhausted, or you are sad, or whatever it is, the negative emotions that, you are dealing with, it's two different people. So when you show up most of the time as the one who is relaxed, rested, happy, grounded, the whole dynamic changes. Why? It's just because what you are expressing through you, it's positive energy, it's
Mm.
positive vibrations that your children will respond to. Now, if it's the other Tessia, exhausted, frustrated, what kind of energy I'm gonna let, flow through me, and, express. And and they will have to, and obviously the boys will, yeah, have to respond to that.
Mm.
Different. It's a
Mm.
different atmosphere in the house. It's a different interaction. It's completely different because you are different at that moment, you know?
And how important it is for somebody to ground themselves when they're in that moment.
I mean, what I found very useful is the fact that you can, I just, sorry, just 1 second.
That's okay.
Sorry,
Yeah,
1 second. So sorry.
that's okay. I will
Someone
I
from
will
the
cut this.
building. I'm sorry. That has to come in, and oh, I'm so sorry. I just didn't know that.
That's okay. I'll cut this away. No
Yeah.
worries.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
you were saying about yeah, how important it is for somebody to ground themselves when they're in that.
So I think the most important thing when it's happening to you, it's to just, put yourself, aside or in a quiet room and breathe.
Mm.
Try to just, release whatever, tension you may have or whatever, what's going on, and to just trying to focus, on your breath and, to be present. And this helps a lot to shift back to better energy or positive vibrations. It helps a lot.
Take yourself away from the situation for a moment,
Mm-hmm.
isolate yourself,
Mm-hmm.
reground yourself, and then only come back and deal with it with a different energy.
Yes.
Right. I think we talked a little bit about this, but then I think for the benefit of our listeners, we can break it down even better so they can get the clarity. What are the challenges that most modern parents face when it comes to their kids these days?
What are the most challenges when
Challenges that most modern parents face when it comes to their kids these days.
I think it's probably the fact that we are in a different world. And so evolution and technology, it's so different from what, have been exposed when we were obviously children. So it's all about raising children in a world that we don't, recognize because it's not the same that we grew up in. And that's okay. We're here to raise children to be able to adapt well. But I think for some parents, obviously, it can be a challenge because they can be very fearful or not really knowing how to adjust, or it's not easy. And I think as I would think that it's the main one at the moment is how you raise children nowadays in terms of keep them, safe, and obviously make sure that, they're still, healthy and happy and striving in that world today.
Thank you for sharing that. So,
My
Tess,
pleasure.
what is that one thing you wish you understood or knew before becoming a parent yourself?
Wow. I think what I wanted to know is that for any problem or any, challenge, issue, the solution exists. We live you know, in a dual world, and you can't have, hot without, cold. You can't have, back without a front. So any challenges that you may have or you may encounter, the solution exists.
Mm.
If I knew that, I would have been different in my approach of dealing with challenges or issues. I would have just, let myself, reassured that it's okay. I'll find a way out,
Mhm.
But I didn't think this way because
Mm.
I was ignorant. It was a lack of awareness. And I thought sometimes that things that I was dealing with, there were nothing to help me out of this. It's just a matter of time. With time, this will pass. This kind of, thinking. I learned very early that is not the truth. In my case, for instance, I had trouble, but very, very, yeah, trouble. I was struggling with my oldest one because he was not sleeping through the night, but not the way we can think of it, like, when they wake up every 2 hours and 3 hours like this. We all know that. We have been informed. It's still difficult. I'm not saying it's not, but it's what it is. And in my case, he was not doing that at all. He was just not sleeping through the whole night.
Oh my
So
gosh.
anytime you put him down, he wakes up straight away. And sometimes you use tricks, you use whatever, but he wakes up. Because his way was, but I didn't understand at first, but his way was he wants to sleep on you because
He doesn't want to be separated.
yes, but I didn't understand. So I was struggling and struggling and struggling and struggling. And I was like, at some point when he was starting to sleep, I just, I was trying to put him down in his top and he was waking up straight away. And I was like, how do you do this? How come you're not tired? I couldn't get it. And it was all day, all night long. So a couple of years later, I've met a friend. She's a friend now, but at the time I didn't know her. And our first conversation was, so what do you do? And she explained that she was a maternity nurse. And I said, what is this? Nicely, she said that she comes over when, when the baby is born and the parents need rest, and she stays over to care for the baby for moms. Most of the time it's mom, to have a night, for herself for once, to just rest. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, this kind of service exists? She said, I'm doing this. It's my job. And I was like, no, seriously, the world stopped at that moment. And I was tearful. I didn't cry, but I was tearful because it was such
There's
a
a solution.
torture, what I've been through, that I could have avoided just by, going on Google. And I'm not saying that I will have faith for that type of service on a regular basis, but even sometimes once a week, you have a nice live. I would have give all my money
Take it.
just just
Just to
just
get
to
my
have
sleep.
one night, just one.
Wow.
It would have changed the whole week for me. And you see, the
Wow.
solution existed. The solution was always there at my disposal. But because I didn't believe that it could be there, I didn't even dare or just make a search or look up for it.
Because
So
we
if
were,
you, before
yeah.
having children, that for any problem, any, issue, a solution exists, even if I don't know what is the solution, but one exists because that's the way our world has been created,
Mm.
with problem and solutions, the whole thing would have been different.
Wow. I think you're dropping really some golden nuggets here for the people out there.
Oh,
Thank you. And
that's the
for me
truth.
as well,
Truth.
I have yet to have any kids. Thank you. I mean, I hear the struggles, but you can never resonate until you really experience it yourself. So my respect, mad respect to all mothers out there, and my mother included.
Yes, but we need to know that from a mother to another, the issues will be different, right?
Mm.
So we can't really. It's not that. It's the way we address the issue, whatever. Because I don't know what will be the issue of, another mother or whatever she will
Yeah.
go through. It will be different from what I've been through. Uh, but the fact that there's a solution for whatever you are going through, it's just, it's a revelation for me. It's just something that I was not aware of. And yeah,
Mm,
very, no, very, very
mm.
important.
Wow. Thank you, Tess. Thank you for that. Right. So, Tess, how important is creating and maintaining a support system that helps you balance the demands of parenting and personal needs?
It's critical.
Mm.
It's vital because it's your well-being. If you don't create or build a support system, it's going to be very, very, very difficult. Back in the days, family was around, people can, help out, support.
Yes, exactly.
Nowadays, things have changed. Lots of people are traveling. They're, moving out of the country. We all know this. Things have changed, and it's good. It's great in a sense, but you don't have your family around all the time now. In my case, I didn't. You can feel very, isolated, and it's difficult because we're not meant to raise children on our own. That's
Takes
the
a
truth.
village to raise a kid.
Exactly. And it has been said just because it's true. It's
Mm.
the child learns from his environment, from everyone. He doesn't
Yeah,
learn just from one person. He learns
so
from
true.
everyone. There's so many things that you can't teach your child. Even in a nursery, you can't replace his peers. You
Mm.
can't be now behaving as a 2 years old,
Yeah.
child, and interact with your child to make him learn whatever socialization with, between 2 years old children. You can't
Mm-mm.
do that. Only his peer can do that. So the child is learning from everyone in his environment, and when it's just you, it's just it's just too much. It's just too much on one person, or even if the dad is here, it's too much. Because even when you have your partner, you are a couple, you are a couple, you are a family, and you are an individual being. And all of those, aspects has to be, taken into consideration. And you dedicate time for being an individual being, for being a couple, for being a family. So you need support for that. You need help, whatever it is, family, if you have family around, or if you don't, it's your responsibility to create a support system. So either you have to hire someone, either with your friends, you just make turns or whatever, sometimes it's one
Yeah.
friend who is in charge. Whatever it is, you do it
Get
for
help.
your own health and
Yeah.
well-being.
Stop. I mean, don't struggle. Stop trying to raise the kid all by yourself. Like, I know, especially like for me, like I live on my own with my cat. So say I have kids, like I cannot think that okay, I may be able to do it, but then it's gonna take I need to move mountains. And I don't think yeah,
It's
no.
very, it's not, it's
Yeah.
not, it's not worth it to do it on your own, because it's
Yeah.
just going to affect your mental health, your physical health. It will affect everything. And then what's going to happen, you're going to show up in this relationship with your child or children, not being,
The best.
happy, yeah,
Yeah.
happy, healthy mother,
Mhm. Mhm.
because it's too much.
Yeah. Mhm. Huh. Tell us
Important.
tell us about your book, Tess. Who should
Yeah.
be reading your book?
Any, mom to be, or any actual even current mother, or new moms as well, or anyone really who is, in charge of children, even dads. In the title, obviously, it's targeting mothers because that's who I am. Um, but obviously, it's my story, and it's for everyone who wants to learn more about how you can, balance being, a parent and being a human being,
Mhm.
having your hobbies, and, go for your dreams, and do, what you like in life as well. So yes, it's for everyone who is in charge of, caring for children. It could be, yeah, mothers to be, new moms,
Mhm.
even childcare as well.
What are the top three key takeaways from your book?
I think the main one, obviously, is in the title itself,
Rejuvenate.
rejuvenating moms make happy kids. So what does it mean? Care for yourself, care for
Mm.
yourself, take time for yourself. And because you do that, you will be a happy, rested mother. And automatically, without doing anything in particular, the kids will be as well, because they learn through observation.
Mm.
And if they just, evolve, or they're just growing in an environment where mommy is always, happy and rested and relaxing, showing that she cares, for herself, she takes time for herself to do the thing that she likes and everything. First, they will learn, and they will just do that as well when they will be older, and everybody in the family will be, well grounded. Everybody will be, striving. So I think the first one is in the title. I will say that self-education as well is important. It helped me a lot, because I decided to learn as much as possible when I was a new mom, about, raising kids, and what, you can do, and what, and I've learned so much about the development of children, and through the phases that they're going through. And this helped me a lot, when I was when my child was a toddler, and he was having that period where he was having tantrums, and I was just so ready. I was like, really, that's the moment. So I was just so in control of the situation. I was so like, wow, I love this. And why? Because I was so prepared. So I knew how it works. I knew how I should comfort, my child, not give in as well, not let it go in terms of giving, whatever he wanted in the store. It happened once in a supermarket where suddenly it's like you don't recognize the child. It's just, and because I was so prepared, I didn't bother of people, looking at me at all. Didn't feel, embarrassed at all. I remained calm. I just was looking at my child and telling me nicely that I understand what he's going through and what he feels, but mommy decided that I won't give that. Well, I can't remember what it was, that I won't give whatever he was asking for, but and it didn't stop. It didn't stop until we went at the till, and then afterwards, neither. It stopped. He stopped when we were at the car, and then I put him, in the car, and I still nicely stopped crying, and I just said, I understand. I was so understanding of the whole situation and process. I was not judging just because I was aware. I was aware that it's part of their development,
Mm-hmm.
and you just have to assist them, So self-education is a big one, not just for tantrums. You learn so much about, who they are, you know, who the children are. And the more you know about them, obviously, the more you can, assist them and be there for them through, their development. So I think this one is a big one. And I would say for the third one, forgiveness, to forgive yourself for whatever, for things that you didn't know and you've learned, on the way, because you can't, just live in the past all the time. So everybody, makes mistakes, and it's part of the journey. Mistakes are just here to just help out, to surely show us the way, you know, because when you make a mistake and it has that consequence or whatever, it's just a way for, life to tell you, oh, not this way, just try that way maybe. So it's just guidance here.
A way for you to
Think-
course correct.
Because sometimes you just stay in it and you're like, I should have done that. Why did I do that? Why don't I? About your children, let's say, and there's no point. You've done it because you didn't know, so you
Mm.
can't blame yourself for things that you didn't know. Now you know.
Then, yes,
Can do better.
that's right. Yeah.
We have to learn to let it go as well. Okay. So
Thank
I would
you.
say those three: self-forgiveness, rejuvenation, and self-education.
Now, Tess, what is your advice to other single mothers out there who are trying to juggle their professional and personal responsibilities?
The same as I said at the beginning. For whatever you are going through, there is a solution. Maybe you don't know what is the solution. Maybe it doesn't seem that there is one. But if you believe there is one, you will find it, because it works like that. For what I don't know what could be the struggle. It could be so much. It can be financial. It can be time. It could be anything. But if you just calmly say to yourself that I know the solution in my problem exists, whatever it is, and the way will be shown. Trust me on this one, the way will be shown. That's for sure. I'm not saying it will be shown the day you ask. It could be maybe 3 days later or whatever, but it will be shown because you ask for it. And that's one of the law of the universe is ask and it will be
You
given.
shall receive. Mm.
Exactly. So this is the only way to, resolve the problem that you may have as a single mother, whatever it is. To trust in the process and ask for guidance.
Now, I wanted to ask something, but Because I know you are a single mother, but in your opinion, how important is a father figure in any kid's life?
I
Me
think
being very
very,
curious.
very, it's, I'm a single mother, but we need to understand that there is different aspects or levels. I don't know how to describe that of being a single mother. My mom was a single mother, but not the same as me now being a single mother. My dad was not in our life at all, at all. That was,
Absolutely.
complete. Yes. Me, in my case, the dad is here. The dad is providing financially as well. I'm still a
Right.
single mother, but not the same, you see, compared to my,
Right.
it's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
different.
Yes.
So, and it's still the same nowadays. Some mothers, they are without the dad at all
Mm-hmm.
around. And some, the dad is around, helping out, or it's, I would say that it's so important to have the dad around. It's obviously it's so important. I can say that because I didn't seem to be too impart, but for my brother, I think it was very, very hard not having a dad around. Probably because he's a boy. I don't know. I'm not saying that it's more important for boys than girls. I just give my story. It has been difficult for him. He missed him so much, and I think all his life he has been trying to just get that ideal image of a dad, and compared to me, I wasn't really bothered. Now, in my case, the boys are saying their dad all the time, so I don't see any. They are really well balanced. They're two boys as well, but their dad is always there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important. But sometimes when you don't have the dad, you can have another, male figure. It could be an uncle, it could be anyone that can, play that role. And this will be very important to the child.
Thank you. So, Tess, what is next for you?
Next is what I'm doing now is still, spreading, the message. I think we don't talk enough about, our needs as mothers. So I'm continuing on doing that to make sure that the message get out there and the conversation about um, mother's well-being is at the center of the conversation. That talking about that is just something that now we talk more about, and so mothers will be more aware of what they want to experience as mother, and what kind of motherhood journey they want to have to experience.
Mm, how heartwarming.
So
uh,
that's what's next.
okay. So, Tess, I'm going to pivot to a self-worth question because my podcast talks a lot about self-worth. So, the question for you, Tess, negative self-talk can significantly impact self-worth. How do you manage yourself when these thoughts surface?
I know it's not easy, but the truth is we have control of our thoughts. When you practice meditation, when you practice, concentration, you are more able to spot when a negative thought, can come, and you can obviously reject it. It's an insight, it's an inner work, and but it's down to us, right? It's our responsibility to do it, because otherwise, if we don't do anything, we're gonna let those, negative thoughts from the outer world controlling us, you know. And the problem is when the thought is in your mind and then you accept it, then you get involved, emotionally with it, you act accordingly. It starts with obviously, it starts with the thought, then the emotion, and then the action, right? So
Mm-hmm.
then you're gonna start doing things that you wouldn't done if a different thought was in your mind. So it's really important to understand that it's your responsibility to control your thoughts. You don't control maybe the thought coming and it's a negative one, but you can control the fact that you accept it or reject it. You can nurture the thought, or you can decide to reject that thought. So this is your responsibility. And when you are more into saying positive affirmations, during your day, and remaining, with positive thoughts, you are less likely, obviously, to go into that road and just, thinking about negative stuff all the time. So I would say it's doing the work, doing the inner work to stay in control of your own thinking.
I like the keyword, do the work.
Yeah.
Do the work. Like,
Right.
yeah. And that encompasses a lot of things like regulating your emotions, controlling, just being observant of what you think about,
Of course.
and then how you want to
The
put yourself out there
thinking,
to the world. Yeah.
yeah, the thinking is everything. You become what you think about.
Mm-hmm.
So careful about what you think.
Yes. Gosh, I love that. You become what you think about. Yes, that is definitely my kind of topic. So Tess, what is your heart's greatest wish?
That's a good question. I think what I wish the most is for not only mothers, obviously, but for everyone to be aware for, you know, how things work in this world, aware of the laws of the universe we were talking about, thinking if people are just aware of that truth that you become what you think about, then, they will just, make the change, make the shift in consciousness to be the person they really want to be. Once you do that shift internally, the outside world changes. All your circumstances are changing because the outside world is just a reflection of your inside world. So if everybody here knows that, then they can become who they truly are, what they really want, they just have to be aware. It starts with the awareness. Then obviously there's the work, obviously the inner work that you have to do, but you can't do this inner work without knowing. So it's first awareness. It's rising in consciousness first.
Mm, mm. Yes.
So that's
Rising in
my
consciousness.
dearest wish
Ah,
for for
I love it.
anyone on this planet.
I love it. I love it. I love talking about conscious. I can talk hours and hours for that. So might need to dedicate a whole episode or even a podcast just for that.
Wow. Amazing. That will be amazing.
I love it. Spirituality, yes, put me right there. I'll sign up.
Everything.
Yes.
It's everything.
Do you have a mantra that you live by, Tess?
I love to say, I would say every day, I know who I am. It's helping me reminding myself of who I am. And I need that sometimes because obviously we have been conditioned, we have been programmed, and sometimes, you just go back to your previous self. So it's good to have this reminder. So I'll say every morning, I know who I am.
Let that marinate for a second for our listeners. I know who I am. Meaning standing in your own power, in your
Yeah,
authentic self.
exactly. No matter what, she is saying or thinking about you, you know who you are.
Yes. Is there anything that keeps you up at night, or do you sleep well?
Very well.
Whew, meaning you're well rested.
Yeah, but the
You're
thing
a
is,
rejuvenated mom.
I love to sleep. I just
Oh, me
love
too.
I just love that. I think it's so nice to get into your bed and just, starting to,
Sink
so
in.
yes, it's amazing. I just love it. So, God,
That's a siren confirming the whole thing. Synchronicity from the universe.
exactly.
Gosh.
No,
So you sleep very
absolutely
well.
love to sleep.
You
Yeah.
love to sleep. Okay.
Yeah, I'm passionate about sleeping.
I love it. Hashtag love sleeping. Hashtag passionate about sleeping. Mm.
Yeah.
If you could create a quote right now for you to leave to the audience listening and the world as your legacy, what would it be?
If I can create what? Sorry, can you repeat,
A
please?
quote. A quote.
A code.
A quote, yeah. Like you said, your thoughts create your reality. But this is by Tess.
Hmm. I would say, I would say something similar. Thoughts. Your thoughts create your reality. Your feelings attract, and your imagination creates your wealth.
Thoughts create your reality. Your feelings attract, and your imagination creates your world that seals everything. Mm.
So you see, so we have thinking, obviously,
Feeling. Mm-hmm.
thoughts, feeling, and we have imagination as well.
Mm-hmm.
Imagination is everything. It's everything because when we say everything is possible, it's referring to imagination because it's where you can think anything you want. But imagination creates anything in this world has been first created in the mind of the creator, right? Anything, a chair, it was first, in imagination. And even how do you say that? Like a painting. Even the painters, they say that. They say that there is no originals on this planet. It's only copies because the
Mm.
original is at first in the mind. So
Oh, oof! Just got chills.
so if we are aware of it, what does it mean? It means that everything that we can see of matter, of substance, comes from the spiritual first, from
Comes from
the,
the 5D.
imaginative world. So creation is everything. If you want to change the life that you currently have, you just go create one in imagination and you just, remain faithful to it. You stick with it. And this image will, replicate itself in the physical form. But it's really important. Imagination.
Thank you, Tess. How can people reach out to you?
So they can find me through my website, tessiawatson.com. And if interested with the book, it's on Amazon and it's called Rejuvenated Moms Make Happy Kids.
Woo! Well, and there you have it, guys. You heard it from the person herself, Tess Watson. Before we close off, Tess, I'd like to thank you personally for the work that you're doing for the world and for advancing every step of the way despite the challenges, creating trails that will come after you. For the listeners, this has been that one podcast with that controversial name, You're Worthless. Read that again. The juxtaposition of your very soul. Now, if you find yourself thinking that you're worthless, you're not alone, probably. But more importantly, ask yourself a level deeper. If I'm worthless, then why the heck am I here? It is because your soul have chosen to be here energetically, all the way from the ethers. And for that reason itself, you are worthy and you are enough. This has been Tess Watson, your guest of the day, and Nick Nieras, your host, signing off. Thank you very much, Tess.
Thank you for the space. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.